Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here, the 3 Topics Gamer, here to share with you another one of my ranking tier list videos. Now, for those of you that may not be aware of this, I actually recently did get back from a trip from Universal Studios Hollywood and actually did a breakdown of pretty much everything I saw in an experience. I'll be sure to leave a link to that video either somewhere up top or at the end of this video. But in the meantime, I actually put up a post while I was actually there to see if I did a ranking video on what style you guys would prefer, and you guys picked a tier list, so that's what we're going to do here. So this is just going to be a standard breakdown of pretty much everything I saw and experienced, and just ranking them in different sort of format, just which ones I liked and which ones I didn't all that much like. So if you happen to enjoy this video by the end, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep track of me on my future videos. Remember, if you have any more future ideas you think would make for great ranking videos, make sure to post those ideas in the comments down below as well, and I'll be sure to give you a quick shout out. So as we jump right into my ranking, is everything in terms of all the shows and rides. I kind of have them ranked in just 5 different categories, going from ride multiple times because it was just that amazing, it was fun, or it was just okay, or some rides I just wouldn't recommend, and then the last ones are just the rides and shows that unfortunately me and my friend John, we did not happen to go see. So we're just gonna get those ones out of the way first, which ones we, for whatever reason, I didn't even know they existed. So I did not see the Harry Potter frog singing. Apparently there's some sort of show. I didn't even know that existed. What else? There was also this thing. I think this is somewhere in the Minions area. It must have been down because I didn't even recognize it until I saw it in this picture. Next thing we didn't see, animal actors. Didn't even know that was there. I think there was one. There's like a special effects show. Don't know when that came out. And I think the last one we did not see is the Life of Pets, which you actually had to put like a virtual reservation in order to go. But just from what we've read, we were kind of happy that we actually didn't go and see this one. So starting off with one that I would not recommend. Personally, I would not recommend seeing the DreamWorks Theater, or at least in this current form, it's like this Kung Fu Panda show. I stated in my experience video that pretty much all this was the equivalent of walking into a standard theater and experiencing D-Box, except not nearly as exciting. This was probably the least impressive semi-simulator ride. I mean, it's not even really a ride. You're sitting in a theater and your chair kind of rocks a little bit, and it might sprinkle a little bit due to the water effects because it pretty much has the panda character going down like a raging river. But yeah, this is something that when we do go back to Universal Studios Florida, this is something I personally won't have no interest in going on again. Next thing that I really wasn't a fan of was Despicable Me. This one was also another simulator. Again, just like Kung Fu Panda, this is something that I personally am not a fan of. I've never watched Despicable Me, and this simulator was also not very impressive. It didn't really create an immersive feeling. I mean, and on top of that, at least during my experience, there was like a good amount of waiting time, which kind of killed the momentum. So going into this ride, I really wasn't even all that excited. And by the end, it was something that I didn't feel we needed to ever experience again. So I think that's pretty much the only rides I wouldn't recommend out of the ones that we saw. Now we're going to just, it's okay. Now, there was this little raptor show that was located right next to Jurassic World, and it pretty much has you're able to interact with like a raptor, which is obviously someone in a costume. It was okay. I saw it from a distance. I didn't need to get too close to it, but I mean, I thought the effects, the movements of the raptor was decent, but it's just like, it's just kind of weird that you would have like a semi-domesticated raptor who, if this was a real raptor, he'd be tearing people apart. So, I just thought it was okay. The next thing that I thought was okay was the Harry Potter roller coaster, Flight of the Hippogriff. This one is the only roller coaster. Actually, I'll put that higher. It was quite literally the only real roller coaster that was outside. However, it was small. It didn't go that fast. It was short, like literally the second that your cart starts going, the ride is over in about 50 seconds. There's like a few there's like, it goes up and then does like a few circles, and then it might make a turn or two. But other than that, like if you're standing in a long line for this, it's really one of those rides where the ride isn't worth the wait. If you have especially if you don't have an express pass. If you have an express pass, knock yourself out. But if you don't, it's something that I like. Unless you have like a kid or you're curious, then go ahead. But it's something that if you know what to expect, I wouldn't ride on this a second time. Let's see, what else did I think was just okay? I think that's Orlando Studio Tour. I think that's what this is. Maybe I might be wrong, but yeah, I think that's Studio Tours. This was something that I heard a lot of hype for, but overall, I mean, it was an hour long. We went through a few sound stages, and we went through 2 3D, arenas, and experienced King Kong and Fast and Furious. And overall, it's just like, kind of whatever. I mean, I question whether there were actually some movies that were filmed on site. I question that, but if it was, like, okay, whatever. But otherwise, I didn't really see anything that I thought was really all that impressive. So this was just kind of okay. Personally, I mean, if you want to do it because it was really popular, go ahead. But for me personally, it's something that I wouldn't go a second time. And I think that's all the ones I thought I was just kind of like in the middle about. Now, as we go into it was fun, I'll definitely go with Jurassic World. I thought it was fun. It's kind of slow. If you've been on the original Jurassic Park ride, you'll know what to expect from this one. You might, depending on where you sit, you might get wet. I was fortunate enough to kind of sit in one of the back rows, so I didn't get I got sprinkled a little bit, but John, who sat in the front of his boat, got completely soaked to the point where he was still soaked like a good hour after we got off. So I think your experience might differ just depending on where you're sitting on your boat. Animatronics looked fine, water effects were fine, the overall look of the environment was fine, and the drop was obviously the highlight of the ride, and that's how it ends. So yeah, I'd say it's fun. Yeah, I'd say again, if you don't have an express pass and you don't mind not sitting with your party, I would go with the single rider's line. That way you can get through it as quickly as possible. I would not recommend standing in line for like up to 2 hours, which is for like how long the typical line is from like beginning to end. What else was fun? They had in the Magical World of Harry Potter Land, they actually had this little show for the Triwizard Tournament, where it actually had the 2 students from the 2 other schools come and do like this little performance. I saw it from a distance, but apparently John actually got a lot closer than I did. From what I could see from what it was, it was pretty impressive. It was cool. I'd like to gobble a fire, and I thought it was fine. So I put it with fun. It was fun. Sorry about that. Next thing we have is the wand experience for the choosing of the wand. I thought this was fun. It's not so bad if you don't get picked, but if you have like younger kids with you and they get a chance, it's pretty cool. Just being like, it's a small group. It's a dark room, and just kind of seeing the chosen kid actually, try to find his wand and like interact with things around the room. I thought it was really cool. It made me feel like it made me wish out for like maybe like a good 10 minutes that I was 12 years old again, just so I had a better chance of being selected. So yeah, I definitely did think that was fun. Another thing that I also thought was really fun was the Waterworld Show. Again, I think it very much depends on where you sit. If you're not sitting in the center row that is like right in front of the actual stage, you might have like a much harder experience because you're not going to be able to see everything as clearly. But if you happen to get one of those center seats, I think it'll be a much better experience. I think when I do go back to Universal Studios, I will 100% be getting express passes. That way, that increases my odds of getting through lines faster. And therefore, when I go see Waterworld again, I'm fairly certain I'm going to get a center row seat. And I don't even mind if I get wet. So yeah, this is definitely something that I would certainly want to see again. Just want to make sure I get a much better seat. So yeah, but it was definitely fun. Next thing I would put is, I want to say, Transformers The Ride 3D. I think I put that over Waterworld. This was definitely one of the better simulators. You weren't just stuck in a stationary position and it was just rocking back and forth. You actually on a rail as your cart was actually making pretty good rotations, and just the visuals of like seeing the Autobots and Decepticons fight around you and your Autobot that you're riding in kind of interacting for everything, I thought was pretty cool. It was certainly a step up above just stationary simulators. So yeah, if you ever have a chance to see this ride, it was actually pretty cool. And actually just the walk, I'd say out of all the rides we went on, I think this one had the best like walkway, because you actually got to see a lot of different areas that had like a lot of different props, and I thought that was really, really cool. Next thing is the Simpsons Ride. I'm actually gonna put that behind I put it behind Transformers. This was the first ride we went on. This is what replaced Back to the Future, so if you never got a chance to ride Back to the Future, you kind of would get a perfect idea of what the Back to the Future ride would have been like. But yeah, this is definitely this is probably the best stationary simulator ride that they have there that wasn't on rails like Transformers 3D. A serious step above Despicable Me and Kung Fu Panda. And I think and this is something that, yeah, if you don't get a chance to, if you don't want to wait in too big of a line, if you have an express pass, go ahead. But yeah, this was we definitely had a fun, especially with this being the first ride we went on. And the last two rides that we have is the Revenge of the Mummy and the Harry Potter ride. I'm definitely putting Revenge of the Mummy ride multiple times, which we ended up doing. We rode it twice. Probably could have rode it a third time. This was my favorite ride when I actually went to Universal Studios the two previous times, and I was so happy that it was still there. It was still intact. It was still exactly the way it was when I was much younger. And it hasn't lost its charm. I mean, even though I knew where all the turns were and when things were going to start up and what was going to happen, I was still I was losing it every single time. This is, without question, probably one of the best rides you're going to go on. This is an absolute must if you do happen to visit Universal Studios in Hollywood. And I do believe that the one in Orlando is a little bit different. So if I ever do get a chance to visit Universal Studios Orlando, this is going to be an absolute must over there as well. But unfortunately, it has been dethroned because the Harry Potter, I think Forbidden Journey or something like that, is without question the best ride at Universal Studios Hollywood. We would have written it multiple times had we known a little bit more about the timing of the Hogwarts show, but this is without question one of the greatest rides I've ever been on. I mean, this easily outclasses a lot of the rides I've been on at Disneyland, and could possibly dethrone a lot of rides at Disney World, even though I've never actually been there. But just from what I know were there, this definitely would have eclipsed that. You have to go on this ride, whether you're a Harry Potter fan or not. Just how this ride operates is unlike anything I've ever seen or experienced before. I'm probably going to look at the video of explaining how they did this, but I don't know how many years this thing's been here, but this thing was extremely popular. We were in line for well over, felt like 2 hours, but the first time we went on this, it was absolutely well worth the wait. Wish we weren't standing out in the heat for so long, so next time I do go on this, I will be sure to get an express pass so I can get through the line much faster. But yeah, that Harry Potter ride is without question the best ride at Universal Studios Hollywood. And that is my tier list ranking of all of the rides and shows that I did happen to see at Universal Studios Hollywood. If you've actually had a chance to actually visit Universal Studios Hollywood, how would you rank these rides? Share your ranking with me and everyone else in the comments down below. And like always, I want to thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.